Hello again. This is Accidental CISO, and I am back for more Throttle Therapy, talking about burnout. And today I want to talk about what I finally did about it once I realized that that's what I was dealing with and that I was burnt out. As I mentioned in the last video, I was diagnosed with ADHD. And that bought me some time, about 8 months or so of additional productive time before I reached the point where I had to make something happen. And I realized that at that point, the ADHD meds also were able to help me with some of the emotional regulation and those types of things as well. And I was able to gather my wits enough to understand that the environment that I was in was not going to change, and that for me to recover I was going to have to make the changes. So I quit my job. I didn't have anything else lined up, but I finally reached a point where, as simply as I can put it, my own mental and physical health was worth more to me than money. And I decided that it was time, and I walked away. And it was terrifying. Absolutely terrifying. But as much as I was terrified, I was also exhausted, and I knew that I needed rest. And so my plan was to take 8 weeks, now 6 to 8 weeks off. I finished up my last day just before Thanksgiving, and I was going to take the entire holiday season through New Year's off to just think, to do a lot of reflection and rest, and hope that I could get to a spot where I could collect my wits enough to really think about what it was that I want to do next. And as fate would have it, the next week, a friend of mine that was building a consulting company called me and said, "Hey, I've got an assessment if you want to do that. I got an assessment I just sold. Starts next month." And I figured, you know what, it'll be part-time. I'll jump in and I'll work on that. And so I did. I had fun, and it turned into about another year. Very quickly turned into full-time employment, working for my friend. And it was a fantastic experience. I learned a lot. I learned a lot about consulting. I learned a lot about myself. One of the most important things that I learned was my own culpability in my burnout. That while it was true that there was a large portion of it that was caused by the environment that I was in, at my prior role as a Chief Information Security Officer, I learned that there were things that I was responsible for myself, and getting to that point. My work ethic, something that I always thought was an asset, was one of my biggest downfalls, because I was always willing to put other people in front of me, and I was always willing to do everything, whatever it took, to make the team successful and make the organization successful. And that work ethic that I thought was an asset wasn't all actually work ethic. Work ethic comes down to being willing to do the work and put in the effort and have the urgency and the responsibility to be accountable for things and make stuff happen. The part that I confused with work ethic was the lack of setting boundaries. It was the lack to enforcing and protecting myself and saying yes no matter what. It didn't make me a team player like I thought it did. And some of that's on me, some of that's on the organization and the culture of defining what team player is within this organization. Because I wasn't the only one dealing with this at that organization and struggling with the culture. But as I got into a totally new organization that was free of many of the things that I thought about the organization were responsible for my burnout, and realizing that I was still perpetuating them and having to fight the urge to perpetuate them. I had to come to grips with the fact that there were things about my attitudes towards work and what it meant to be a team player and what it meant to work hard that I really needed to reconsider. But that new role gave me the ability to back off a little bit and gain that understanding. And unfortunately, as time went on, I realized that my personal goals and my personal priorities were not in a line with what the organization was looking to do. And at the end of the day, after a year there, I quit my job again. Because, again, I had to protect myself and continue my recovery. My recovery had started to stall towards the end of that year, and I could recognize that. I at least had the awareness to recognize it at that point. And what I told my friend, when I called him up, said, "Hey, we need to talk." What I told him is, you have aggressive goals for this organization for next year, and you will hit them. But I don't have it in me to do another year of what we've done. I told him very open and honestly, you need somebody who is going to be 100% all in. And I'm not going to be that guy. I'm going to be the guy who is trying to protect my mental health and myself and set boundaries and digging in my heels. And that's not what you need, and that's not what the team needs. And I appreciated the fact that I could have that sort of candid conversation with him. And I joke in a way that I fired myself in that moment. But I had to step away, and I went back to my original plan from the year prior and took the entire holiday season off from Thanksgiving until after New Year's so that I could think about what I wanted to do. And I decided that I was going to start my own consulting company because I really did enjoy the consulting aspect of it. I enjoyed helping my clients, and this is a great way for me to help a lot of different organizations. But the priorities that I set for myself was that I was going to control what I worked on. I would control when I worked. I would control the pace that I worked at, and I would be building something for me in the process. And that's what I've been focused on for the next year. And I'm finally to the point in burnout recovery where I can start talking about this, that I have the creativity again to talk. And I think I'm going to wrap this episode up here, and I'm going to save the next stuff that I'm thinking about for the next episode, which is what recovery has actually been like. This is a good way to segue into what recovery has been like. So please share this if you know somebody that these videos will help and that needs to hear what I'm saying. Please share it. Subscribe so you don't miss the next episode if you like what I'm doing. Leave me comments down below. I love interacting with folks. I'm most active on Twitter. So if you want to hit me up on Twitter and talk to me there, let me know what you think. But I will, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this one up. And I'll see you in the next one. Until next time, I'm Accidental CISO, and I'm out.